Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of A Day in the Life of a Farmer. Today we are destoning, and we're over in a field called Flat Meadow near Leominster. It's about 25 acres in total, or 10 hectares, and it's the second biggest field of potatoes we've got going in this year. So the variety being planted are called Royal, and they're grown for McCains, and they are a processing potato which McCains then use for their own brand chips or crinkle fries. You find them in the supermarket in the freezer bags. Also for the smiley faces, and the best lot go for McDonald's fries through McCains. So there's sort of two main types of, I believe, potatoes grown in the UK. There's processing potatoes, which is predominantly what's grown in Herefordshire, and there's pre-pack potatoes. So they're the ones you go into a supermarket, down the veg aisle, and they're the potatoes sat there, rather than being processed and going into like a freezer bag, such as these ones. So, yeah, what was I going to say? There's a really good guy on Instagram to follow if you want to follow like the pre-packed potatoes, see the difference. They're pretty similar in the way they go in, but there are differences. But there's a chap who works up in East Anglia on a farm called Waldersea Farms, about 16,000 acres, which is nuts. But yeah, they're pre-packed potatoes, and it's a guy called Neil Craig. So if you have Instagram, follow him, and he posts pretty commonly, pretty regularly rather. Sits on a John Deere 8RT, and I think he's got a Medema planter or something like that. But yeah, he's a good one to follow to see how they're getting on up there. But they're growing a lot. I don't know, 16,000 acres in total, so I know they've got 2 DeWolf self-propelled harvesters, so they must be pushing or in excess of 2,000 acres. I could be way off, could be more. But yeah, they got loads and loads of spuds going in, whereas these, we've got about 170 acres this year going in across the farms. So so yeah, just in the process of planting them, really. This is day 3, and day 3 also of planting, but also day 3 of me sitting on a destoner, something I've not done before. But the idea is to take out as many stones and clods as possible from the bed, which is formed from the bed tiller, and putting it in the wheel rows, leaving a nice bed for the planter. So yeah, just taking out as many clods and stones as possible, really. And yeah, slowly starting to get used to it. It's a bit like driving the spud harvester, but you don't have other trailer drivers and things to worry about. But it's quite similar in the way the machine works. Obviously a Grimme destoner as well here. So yeah, we've also got Matt Coates on the bed tiller, on the Massey up there. He's been doing some videos as well with the GoPro, so I'll probably put them over the top of this video, or do a separate one. And then Paul in the smaller Massey with the planter. And once I've focused on turning round, I'll sort of take you through the process of how the spuds go in the ground, really, from start to finish. So there is quite a lot to do on the ends with these destoners. So excuse me while I don't talk. There we go. So yeah, the fields are ploughed in springtime, and they are then fert spread onto them, so NPK spread onto them at quite a high rate. Do that with the same fert spreader as we use on all the other crops. Then the fields are cultivated and ridged up using the other Fendt, at which point the bed tiller comes on, which is on the big Massey, and basically breaks up each row or bed that's been formed and puts it into a fine tilth. Which is left over there, you can see on the right hand side of the destoner as we look. Destoner then comes along and leaves it as it is on the left hand side, with all the stones placed in the track. You can kind of see ahead of me there, so on where the left wheel is, the stones I brought out in the last bed. Leaves a bed like that for the planter. You want to leave it as fine as possible and take out as much as possible, ready for him to then plant, which can be seen over there. So for those of you who haven't had much to do with potatoes, one of these rows as such is called a bed. So this is a single bed in front of me. Paul then plants it into 2 rows, so each bed is split into 2 rows of potatoes, and that's how they're sort of grown. So yeah, that's sort of the process. Obviously then sprayed, maybe have a bit of fert on top if it needs it, and yeah, wait till harvest really. So that's kind of the way it goes. But it's definitely been interesting getting on something new again. It's been quite a year for me, I'd say. I mean, I started on this farm in July and done a lot of new things for me, a lot of new jobs. So yeah, it's been interesting and getting a good variety on the farm with the apples as well. So yeah, overall it's been good, and it's now, what are we on now, 17th of April, springtime. So getting into longer nicer days. So my days at the moment just consist of coming in at about 6:15 to 6:30, taking the destoner to the field where I then grease it up. It's just, I like to get it to the field first to I don't know, it's always in the back of your mind, just not the nicest thing to take down the road. So get it into the field and then you don't have to worry about it. Grease her up and just check it over, and then crack on and sort of, yeah, destone all day up and down. So probably manage about 16 acres in total each day on average, because the destoner is like the weak point and I've been going a bit slower. It's been a little bit less over the past couple of days, but now hopefully building the speed up has kind of build up confidence and experience with it. So yeah, it's generally just looking out for, I mean, the front, trying to keep a nice mat of soil up and trying to keep a web below that clod mat, as it's called, sort of a nice wave of soil, and then just judging your speed based on what's coming out the elevator and how much you've got going up there. So making sure you leave enough depth for the planter. So when you come into heavier ground like this, you'll see on the clod mat it's starting to build up, so just bring it down, because like with potato harvesting as well, your kind of your speed is based on the soil type. So yeah, over by this tree it's a little bit heavier, so we're gonna slow down and give it more time to go through. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. That is destoning. So this is field 4 out of 10 this season. We haven't planted the headlands on the first 3 we've done yet. We sort of get these ones done and then we'll go back. Yeah, we'll go back and plant the headlands there. So I'll bring you along. Hope you've enjoyed a little update on where we're at, and yeah, look forward to seeing you. I'll probably do a few more videos on it, but look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.